Peace, two fingers. What's good, family? TC here with another video. It's Friday, May 11, 2018. I usually don't state the date and all that shit, but what the fuck? All right, check it out now. Uh, a lot of shit's going on this week. A lot of crazy shit. But what I'm going to talk about today is how white people seem to have gotten into this thing where they call the police and the cops for any little thing that they see black people do. It's like they're trying to criminalize black life, like they did back during the Jim Crow era. For those that ain't really up on how they used to criminalize black life, they used to just simply make everything that black people do a fucking crime. You know what I mean? And nowadays, if you walking down the street minding your own business and white people think that you somewhere where you don't supposed to be, they call the police. If you fall asleep in a common area at a major university where you're studying for your master's degree, they call the fucking police. If you go in a restaurant and sit there and don't order anything right away while you're waiting on your friend to make a business deal, they call the fucking police. If you at a bed and breakfast and you leaving and you packing up your shit to be on your way, get to the airport, and some white folks see you and don't think you're supposed to be there, they call the fucking police. And it goes on and on and on. If you at a fucking park having a fucking barbecue with your family, getting ready to have a little cookout or whatever, they call the fucking police. And it ain't even that they call the police. Well, actually it is, but what's worse than them calling the police is that the fucking police show up. And they don't show up with just one cop, or maybe one car with two cops in it. They come 4, 5, 6, 7 deep with fucking helicopters in the air. Now what that shit says to me is a couple of things. First, white people paranoid as fuck, and they're using the cops as a weapon. Second, like I said earlier, they're trying to criminalize black life. Third, the very presence of a black person just about anywhere is reason enough for black people to get paranoid and call the police. Third, the police show up that many deep, that many strong, with that much motherfucking force, says to me that half of them are just there because they ain't got shit else to do. I mean, because, crime really ain't as rampant as they would have you believe. And the other half is there because they think they might get a chance to shoot them some goddamn body. Really. They come there ready for motherfucking the worst. A woman sleeping. She sleep now, and you need 4 or 5 cops to show up to investigate that. One security guard wouldn't have been enough. You need 4 or 5 armed police officers. Like we said back in the day, when they were shooting, during the space program, a lot of people, I'm old enough to remember that shit. But we used to say back in the day, white people ain't scared of nothing but niggas. And they ain't. They ain't scared of nothing but motherfucking niggas. You see a motherfucking white boy stick his head in a lion's mouth. You see a white boy strap himself to a rocket and fire himself out of a cannon. You see a motherfucker on a motorcycle jumping over cars. But let one motherfucking nigga walk by and them motherfuckers shit their goddamn pants and call the goddamn cavalry. That's the kind of country we living in right here and right now. It's going to stay that way for the foreseeable future, you see, until some bigger motherfucking demon comes along, you see. And so we as black people have to learn that this is just how they are. I mean, ain't no explaining why they do these things. Ain't no, coming up with solutions and hoping that they stop doing these things. You know, this is just how they are. This is just what they do. They're a scared bunch of insecure individuals who can't stand to see black people outside of the so-called ghetto. And speaking of that, I wasn't going to speak on this outside of the ghetto shit. I wasn't going to speak on this Kanye West thing again, but it just keeps popping up its ugly head. So here's the thing. Like I said, he's stupid, he's ignorant, he's uninformed. Okay? And if I was him, by now I'd have realized that that was a fucking stupid thing to say and a major blunder on my part. I'll be trying to issue some kind of fucking half-ass apology. But like I said, I personally don't want one, you know. But what fucking with me is some of the people that are in some sort of agreement with Kanye, or they trying to like explain what Kanye West meant. They are starting to fuck with me a little bit because they're trying to break down what he said and, you know, and trying to make people believe that Kanye meant something other than exactly what he said, and trying to make people feel stupid for not, you know, understanding what Kanye said, or make people feel stupid for our particular understanding or our interpretation of what Kanye said. I feel like this: the more people wake up, the better. Whatever side they take, whatever their interpretation of what his words were, the more black people wake up, the better. I don't care if it's people who, up until this point, didn't pay attention to any of that. Their mind wasn't on nothing but basketball, Xboxes, and fucking white girls. I don't care. As long as eventually they wake the fuck up. As long as eventually they wake up and realize that we are at war, and that the more people wake up, the stronger our nation will be. Because I said it before and I'm going to say it again, we don't have any allies. We don't have any allies. It's just us. If you notice some of the last names, Spanish sounding last names of some of the perpetrators of some of this bullshit that we dealing with. You know. So I think that some of our more enlightened black people in the community need to stop trying to come off as more educated and more aware than everybody else, especially people who up to now weren't awake, or at least weren't as aware of what was going on around them as they are now. Because slowly but surely people coming around and seeing that the United States is not a nice place, and the eventual genocide that's going to take place is going to take them first. So they're waking up to that. So they commenting and speaking on things that people are saying that are detrimental to our well-being and our future. So it's not right to condemn them for putting away childish things and trying to wake up and trying to take part in the conversation. You know, so what if they don't know who this guy is, or that guy is, or this woman is, or that woman is in our history? It's easy enough to find out. That's why it's up to enlightened people to educate and inform rather than to browbeat and to condescend. So if you out there and you know your history and you know your shit, that's all well and good. But it doesn't do you or anybody else any good to have all this information and, you know, browbeat people for not knowing as much as you do. They might not know all of the facts and who did what in our history, but they do know a bullshit statement when they hear one. And you can be sitting there playing your Xbox, or you could be sitting there having your weed put in, and then you hear some fucking outlandish shit, and you be like, what, motherfucker? And then that might be the statement that wakes you up. that might be the statement that makes you come out of that fucking stupor and join the motherfucking fight. So don't be all motherfucking, self-righteous and biggity and, big-headed, and just because you have some information that the average person don't have. Like I always say, 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. That didn't just fucking start happening. Anyway, that's it for now. TC. And I'm out.